Alright, hello YouTube. This is a tutorial video on how to set up your Minecraft servers to be operated and handled by a Discord bot. So, I'm going to have this video divided into 3 parts. This first part is just going to be an explanation, example part, showing you how it works, what it can do, etc. The second part will be the installation and walkthrough for that, and the third part will be more of explaining the code that runs it and what and how it does it, so that you can modify it a bit and make it do what you need for your servers. And I'll have the timestamps for each of those parts below. Alright, so for part 1, I just want to walk you guys through the real-life application of my bot and how it's deployed on my Discord server and all of its features and commands. So to start, we have the help command, and this will tell you pretty much all the possible commands there are in the bot that I have made. And to start, we have servers, exclamation point servers, which will directly tell the user the servers you have stored in your Minecraft server directory. The next being status, which will then check these directories to see if any are running, and none are right now, so it'll tell me that all are offline. The next thing we'll do is start one, so let's try starting OG Realm. But I have server commands restricted to the server consoles, or commands, so let's do that here actually. Start OG Realm. So OG Realm is now starting, and we can see over on my button that's beginning. And then real quickly, I just want to show one more thing here. So if we wanted the info on OG Realm, I have the info command, which will then give us a embed on texture pack, the Minecraft version, what port it's running on, etc. I also have the exclamation point IP command, which will then DM the IP address of your servers to the user who issued the command, as for a little bit more privacy. And we can see OG Realm is started, so now if I wanted to do exclamation point status OG Realm, we would see OG Realm is now online. Now this does support multiple servers if you have multiple ports open. So if I wanted to start Hexit now, then might as well start Techit to have all 3 running. Oh, oops, wrong chat again. Start Techit and start Hexit. Now I do want to stop OG Realm, however, just to show you that the status is now updated for these. OG Realm offline, Techit and Hexit are now online. You can see right here OG Realm server was stopped, and you can check the server chat for more details. So I have each of the servers can be linked directly to a Discord server channel to directly output the console. Now, this can get really backed up if you have a lot of mods on a server for the start command, say, a couple hundred mods or so, or plugins. You can see these messages start to get really backed up. Discord starts to just fumble over it, really. So I've gone ahead and modified the clear command to also take more than 100 arguments. So if we want to clear 999 messages, we can go ahead and do that. It does, again, take a little bit on the Discord backend to make them all come through, but they will eventually. And we can go back to the text channel to see if I've forgotten any commands to go over real quick. Oh yes, the command. So the CMD command allows you to pass any console command or terminal argument to any server. So if I wanted, since Hexit is running, I can command Hexit, and this will pass time set day, or we'll do 750 rather, 750, directly to the server console. You can see over here, set the time to 750. So that's a command that you obviously want to keep to mods or people who are higher ups in your server so that they can't opt themselves if it's a public server or something else, etc. So real quickly, I just want to stop all my servers I have running. Stop that. And then just to remind me, let's use status to see that Tekkit's still running. So I will stop Tekkit. And that's, for the most part, the gist of the Discord server bot and what it does. Just real quickly, I'll show you an example of, see how these console messages are still coming through a little bit, just because when Discord's backend, these messages get really backed up. Which is why I've gone ahead and modified that clear command. So I'll see you guys in part 2 for how to set up your own bot. Alright, so this is part 2. I'm going to show you guys how to install and run this Discord bot to manage your servers yourself. So this bot, the code running it, is meant to pretty much replace any launcher or manager program you currently have on your server device, whether that be your computer, Raspberry Pi, or whatever. This Node.js program, which communicates with the Discord bot, is meant to replace that so that you no longer have to do that. So to start, I've gone ahead and just made a new Discord server so I can show you guys from a fresh start what it'll be looking like. And then, so for some prerequisites, you're obviously going to need Java to have run Minecraft servers. I'd hope you already have it. So go ahead and grab the latest version of that for your computer. And then you're also going to need Node.js. This is what powers the bot code so that it can run smoothly. Go ahead and install that for your operating system accordingly. And to make sure it's installed, you can go ahead and do node-v, which should tell you your node version. If you're getting some sort of error or not a version back, then you didn't install it correctly. After that, you can go ahead and now download the bot program, and I've already done that. I put it right here so that we can modify that. Once you have that, you'll need to actually add a Discord bot to your server. So right now it's just me in here, but if you just search Discord dev, will be your first link, this dev portal. Now you won't have any apps here probably, but what you'll want to do is click new application, and you can call this Minecraft server app, probably is a good name, but since I already have that, I'm just going to call it a YouTube tutorial. Alright, and after you have this, you want to go into bot so that you can build a bot. And you'll click yes, do it. This is where you can add a picture and a name for your bot so that it can come up looking like mine right there, if you so choose. And then what you want from this page right here is not your token yet. You're actually going to want to go to general information and get this client ID. After you've copied that, you can go back to your bot, and really quickly, I believe the only permissions this bot needs are messages to manage as well, reactions, manage roles, manage server, and I believe that is it for what it actually needs to run appropriately. You can always also just do administrator to hopefully give it no errors. And then after you've done that, you want to come to this link, which I'll have in the description, which is Discord permissions, and match these permissions before putting your client ID there, which will give you this link. After doing that, you can see it shows you, as long as you're logged into Discord, the current servers you own, and it'll ask what you want to add it to, and I wanted to add it to my YouTube tutorial server. Those are the permissions we gave it. So we'll click authorize. It'll do some Discord stuff, and then boom, authorize. So now, if we come here, boom, there's our Discord bot. He's now here. So now, this is just a bot. This is nothing to do with anything except Discord. And now, we want to see this token. This is what is going to make the program on your computer communicate with that Discord bot so they can pretty much act as one and control your Minecraft servers. So now, after copying that token, we can come into what we've downloaded, and what we want to do is the servers folder here is just the default folder. For servers, I have one folder in here. It's just a basic vanilla Minecraft server so that you can see if it's working. But the only file you should have to edit is this config.js. Now, if you have Notepad++ or any kind of coding program, this will be much easier to edit due to how it'll be colored for you. Otherwise, open it with Notepad or whatever your preferred method is. I'm going to open mine with Visual Studio Code. And this is the config file. So from the start, here is where you're going to add your Discord bot token. So whichever Discord bot yours is, boom, we're now going to add that there. This is where you can put your server IP so that when people use the IP command, they get the appropriate server IP. And now, if you already have a directory of Minecraft servers, this is where you can put it. However, we do not. I have, or pretending I don't rather, I am just going to use the default one that came with this. So you can see this servers, and now we're going to come copy the path to the server and go ahead and put it in for this path. Boom. Now, it does prefer the slashes the other way for some reason. I don't know why it doesn't paste them that way, but it's alright. Just make sure to flip them if it does that for you too. So that is saved, and this is single server use. So what this will do is limit it so only one server can run at a time, as opposed to what I showed earlier in the video, all three of mine running at the same time, because I have more than one port open on my router. If you only have one port and want to run one server at a time, leave this as true. But if you want it like mine and can have multiple servers and ports open, you can go ahead and change that to false so that you can have more than one server. I'm just going to leave it at true right now because of the one default server. So this is the command channel. This is the channel you want commands to be entered in. So we're going to come in here and add a new text channel and just call it commands. So just seeing how it's named commands, you can always, just to be safe, come in here to edit channel. If you have emojis or something in your channel name, copy the channel name and go ahead and put it in here. So that is now the channel that can take commands, server commands. So this is permissions. This is pretty much who is allowed to run these commands on your server. So a player is allowed to see the info, the server list, and get your IP, while a server head can start and stop servers, and a mod is able to clear messages and pass commands directly to the server console. This is all editable, so if I want to come to our server, we're just going to come add one quick role, for example, and we're going to call it, we'll just call it the man. And we're going to copy that role. We can make it whatever color we so choose, save changes. So when we escape, we will give ourselves the role, the man, and we will just make all these capable to be run by the man. So the benefit of this is having, maybe your server already has MeSync, I believe is the name of the add-on, and there's possibly already established roles in your server, and you can just implement this right in. Now, this is for your server configurations. Each server will need to have a line as default does here. Default has in its own 3 arguments. Default being the name of the server directory, identical to it in your servers, and then these next following up until your port number is your start command for the server. Now, the really easy way to find this is to, if you wanted to go into any existing server, such as OG Realm, your launcher start.bat file, if you were to click edit, this is your launch command. This is the command that starts your server. So, if you wanted to run a heavily modded server, you would just have to add the more arguments. Some call for VM options or whatever. Each of these you would just copy into a quotations and separate it by a comma, each command individually. And then after all commands have been added, you want to add to the end your port for that server specifically, and then this is the console channel where the console will be fed to. So I'm going to call this default console. And I actually don't think you can do caps in chat names, so we'll do default console. Copy this, and now we'll make another text channel called default console. So now this should all be configured to run our default server, or for you, hopefully your Minecraft servers. And now to run your Discord bot, you can set it to where it will run with startup another way. I'll leave a link to how to do that in the description. But to launch your Discord bot manually at a time, or just through the command module, you'll launch the command prompt and you'll cd your way to where the file is located. So it's on my desktop, and then what is the name of this? Copy cd that into that, and now we are in MC server bot is the name of the directory of the bot by default. MC server bot. Boom. So now that we're in there, to run the bot, all you do is node space period enter, and this will run your bot. The bot is now online. So now if we were to come back to our Discord server, whoa. And I have it set to say playing in the nether just as a fun joke. But now if we were to come here and do exclamation point help, like before, there are all our commands, servers, would show you just default because that's the only server in there right now. But let's go ahead and start default. Oh, we can't start default because it's not in the commands. Already working. Start default. Default's being started. So now if I was to go into the latest version of Minecraft, and now if we were also to go to our default console, you can see that the startup is being fed to directly to our Discord chat. So right now it's loading advancements and everything Minecraft servers do before they launch. I did click play, right? Yeah, there it goes. And if we scroll down, still preparing spawn area. The default server I have set in here is its first time setup, so it's generating a world for the first time and everything. But now if I was to go here, I'll say old still because it's not ready. There we go. Our server is now online. Now it's the first time the world's generated, so everything will be a bit odd. But just like that, you have launched your Minecraft server from Discord. And now, leaving this open over here, if we were to come back, stop, what is it called? Default, that's right. Boom. Connection to server lost. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of how to set it up and get it working with your Minecraft servers. Pretty much the only really tricky part I'd say to try to pay attention to is when you're editing this config, the start command for your server. This has to be very specific. Each command must be in here, and each command must be in its own set of little quotations separated by a comma, in the same order that your launch.bat has it or run.bat has it. So just make sure to be careful about that. The last thing I want to say before going in part 2 is to just be really careful with each of these configurations. You have to copy this line exactly for each server you want to add. Just remember to increment this number each time for every server you add down, and then obviously match the name to the directory name, and then the start command is the trickiest part. Make sure that each command is separated by the quotations and commas it needs to be, and then you have to have a port and console channel at the end. Otherwise, things could get messy. Other than that, there is one last optional configuration you can do, and that is the embeds. So if you do !info on default, it will give you a nice little embed on some information about it. But these you have to configure manually. I haven't developed a way to pull these from the directory yet. So if you come over to the index.js, at the very bottom you have this embed list, and if you want to configure this feature, this is how you do an embed. So these are some fields right here. I have a Minecraft version, a texture pack. That's how you set the color on the side. Pretty much if you wanted to mess with embeds, this option is here, but if you aren't advanced in code at all or anything, I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. So that's it for part 2. I'll go into part 3, pretty much explaining the code right now, just right into it like that. To start with, obviously the info command is still pretty hard coded in, and you have to manually add some embeds. Other than that, the way this whole bot really runs is just by creating a child process with Node.js to create environments for each of the Minecraft servers that you then just monitor through outputs and inputs. So to start, we obviously have our basic imports, like file system. This is so we can access other files than just our own that we're in. And the config file, this is just importing everything that the user manually configs from here. And after that, it's some Discord overhead. This just creates a Discord bot and configures it with the token that we added. This is your command setup right here. This imports pretty much all the command levels and stuff from the config file, as well as set it up so that exclamation points are the command prefix, and that the command handler is read in by this folder right here, commands, if you ever want to add another command into a JS. This is the server imports for any of that. This ping utility actually isn't being used right now. I haven't figured that out. And then it's just importing the path and everything else from the config file, as well as reading your server directory to see what servers you actually have in there. This just lets you know when the bot is online. And this right here sets it to say that it is playing in the Nether. This logs your bot in. When a guild member is added, so if anyone is added to your server, it does send a quick message saying, hey, whoever the new member is, if you need some Minecraft server help, try !help. However, I do have that, you do have to set that to a text channel. It looks like I don't have that in the config. That will be something I have to fix in the future. So maybe that might not work right now. However, all the commands, which is what the bot is really used for, are definitely working in a public sense. So to start, you just have a basic grab the message sent, and then a switch argument. So this just sends you to each command that is called. So the only command that has really any more code than anything you wanted to figure out through Discord is the start and stop command. So I will quickly walk through those if I can find it. Oops, come on. Here it is. So the start command will start by taking your server configs, which is from the config file, all these you make down here. And it starts by stripping off the last two things on the list, which will be the channel it needs to send all console arguments to, and your port, which I'm not doing anything with currently, but have plans for. It also checks to see your single server configurement, so to make sure not two servers are running. So after that, it simply chops it up a bit, takes off the name as well, so that the only thing left of this list that came in the config file is the command. Default has been stripped off and made into name, as well as the last two arguments being stripped off and made into their designated variables. It then checks if global variable name, which you have tried to start, let's say it's default, is already running. So if default already exists, it will tell you, I can't start that server, it is already running. Otherwise, it'll tell you, please wait, the server is being started, in which case it then executes the path you entered to find the directory of the server you then entered and execute your start command. This then makes it into a global variable named the name of it, so a global variable called default, which runs as a server and is monitored, and anytime it has an output, it is fed to the channel, and on a crash or a stop, it alerts the channel where the original command was called, as well as the console command channel. That's the only real complex part of this is this right here, the child process spawn. All this does is spawn a environment, pretty much a isolated environment that can act as its own that we're just going to monitor, and then inside of that environment executes our Minecraft server. As for the stop, we just really quickly look for the name of the server you had said, and then pass it the stop command. There's still some extra code here. Sorry about that. I got a little distracted. Just in case you enter a wrong server. This also, when it stops, deletes the global variable, allowing it to be then made again if you want to start it in the future. Our start also does this in the case of a crash. It will delete our variable. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I hope you guys can figure it out if I didn't explain it well. And if you do figure it out, leave me any bugs or features you'd like to see. I have plans for like a backup command that will, for instance, back up whatever server argument and then put it into a designated path for server backups. Things like that are pretty simple. I just haven't really had the time to get around to do them yet. So yeah, just let me know about bugs and feedback in the comments, and I hope that I can continue to develop this for you guys. Thanks.